Hello, this is Matt, and I am here to welcome you to the Choose Life video series on how to make bone broth. Bone broth alert, bone broth alert. Hey, it's a bone broth video for goodness sakes. I had to liven it up somehow. Welcome to the first segment of recipes, and this one here is for, of course, bone broth. On the right, you'll find the completed cooked chicken. It is cooked for 12 hours in a crock pot on the low setting, and once it is finished, we will be taking it out and separating the chicken meat from the bones and placing them in the 2 empty silver containers shown above, with the bones and skin in one container and the meat in the other container for later use in sandwiches or other meals. The other items that we need are a good cutting board, tongs, and a knife. Bone broth alert, bone broth alert. Ha! I bet you didn't see that coming again. Hey, I have to have fun in life. So here we are, we're going to take the parts of the chicken out now. Usually we have a whole chicken, plus a few extra legs to provide some more bones. Why is this? Because the more bones, the better the broth is for the body. It is hot, even though it's on a low setting on the crock pot for cooking. The chicken becomes very hot after 12 hours, which is why we use the tongs. So we're going to separate the meat from the bones, putting the bones and skin in one of the pots, and we'll be putting the meat into the other pot. Right now we have completed all of the separation of the bones and the meat from the chicken. The bones are in one pot on the right, and the skin. And the one on the left is all the meat for later use. Now here we do not want anything to go to waste, so we're going to take all the juices, all the extra skin, and pour it into the bones in the skin pot, and that's going to go into our bone broth as well. The next step is we're going to use our stock pot, and I usually use a 7 or 11 quart stock pot depending on how much bone broth I want to make or how much bones I have. And we're going to add 3 quarts of filtered water into the stock pot. In addition, we're going to add in Celtic sea salt, 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar, and I kind of like the Bragg's brand. And that's 2 tablespoons that we'll add. Next, we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes. While that is sitting for 10 minutes, I'm going to prepare my garlic and my ginger. I'm going to prepare the ginger and garlic by taking the cloves out of the bulb for the garlic, and then I'm going to dice those. I'm going to peel the ginger, and then I'm going to take the garlic cloves and I'm going to put them through a press, or you can dice them with a knife. Press is a little easier. I'm going to scrape that off, and that's what's going to go into the stock pot. And we're going to do that for each of the 5 cloves. And for the ginger, once it's peeled, we're going to do it a little different. We're going to shred this with a grater. And we're going to shred the whole 2-3 inches of ginger that you have cut off. And that's going to be added to the stock pot as well. Now we have our completed minced garlic and our shredded, grated ginger. So we're going to add these into the stock pot that we had the water, because in the Celtic salt and the apple cider vinegar, because the 10 minutes is up. So we're just going to scrape and put that in, and we're also going to put the rest of the ginger in here. And once we're done with that, our final ingredient, other than the bones, is going to be 1 tablespoon of curry powder. And sometimes, depending on your jar, it's a little difficult to get it. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact amount, so generally 1 tablespoon. And then the last part we're going to do, we're going to take our bones here, and we're going to add them into the stock pot. So now you can see what we have in the pot so far. And finally we're going to fill up the stock pot to the top with the rest of the water. And then we're going to start cooking. Okay, so now we just added our filtered water to completely fill up to the top, almost the top of the stock pot, of the 7-quart one. And when we're done with that, then we're ready to put it on the stove. But first, before we do that, this is optional, folks, because some people do not like chicken feet and are kind of leery of them, and they creep people out. So this is completely optional, but this does, and you'll see in my other write-ups, why this is good for you and makes this regular broth turn into super bone broth. Make sure you do check out my blog and recipes, because you do want to make sure the chicken feet are peeled before you do this. Finally, we're going to put the lid on the stock pot, and we're going to transfer this to the stove. And we're going to cook this on a low setting. Generally, we want to cook this between 24 and 72 hours. The longer that you cook, the more nutrients are going to be extracted and the more beneficial it will be for you. But if you're not in a critical condition or urgent need, then 24 will do in a pinch, and it'll be good for your body as well. Are you ready? Yes, we are done cooking. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get out our metal strainer, and we're going to take that stock pot off the stove. We are going to bring it over to the counter, and we are going to strain out the bones from the broth into the second container, and then we are going to have our final product ready to put into some smaller containers for long-term storage. I like using 2 different container sizes. The one with the green lid is 16 ounces, and the one with the blue lid is 32 ounces. And as you can see from the next photo, it makes quite a bit. Enjoy!